Hey guys, it's Kevin with Watchhimtrade.com. Today's date is May 9th, 2015. This will be a video chart on Apple. So Apple, talked about the last few weeks, no real changes here structurally. You're still just consolidating for the most part between 120 and 130. You've been in that range since March, and you continue to have brief moves above 130 and brief moves below 125. We saw a brief move above 130 at the end of February, and then again just a couple of weeks ago on earnings, and then we've seen three brief moves below 125, two of them in March, and then a third one just this past week. But every time we've come above 130, we've come back down towards 125. Every time we've come beneath 125, we've come back up towards 130, and we saw signs of that starting to happen this week when you had a really nice shakeout, printed 123.36, which was like a 4-week low or so. Just want to break this down into a minute chart, 15-minute chart, so you can see what went down on this thing. So this also includes pre-market activity. So you can see this is the shakeout into the 123s happening on like Monday and Tuesday. Both times didn't ever stay down there for more than 15 minutes or so. Came back up with a nice spike, then came down, but then you came back up with another nice spike. Then on May 7th, you tried to gap down into the 123s, but look at this pre-market buying that went on before the market opened, and then rallied back to 125, held it, and then Thursday, Friday, nice rally to end the week. So the first thing I want to talk about is, as far as everybody out here who's really thirsty for that Apple breakdown, for it to come below 125 and really start flushing towards 120, you want to see it staying beneath 124. All right, you want to start getting dollar extension beneath 124. If I just draw a line here at 124, you can see that, this action on May 6th, you spent about an hour beneath 124, but you kept showing bounces, back above it, back towards it. And then mentioned on May 7th, you had pre-market action beneath 124, but couldn't, stay below it once the market opened, ended up closing well above it. So what I would be looking for if I wanted to get short Apple is I would want to see sustained commitment beneath 124, for more than an hour or 2 hours. I want to see the stock stay beneath 124 the whole day. And that to me is what would signal she is for sure breaking lower and going to flush out towards 123 and go down towards 120, maybe make some new lows. Because what's happening is you're coming beneath 125, and every time you're just being able to, pop back above it. So mention that about 125. Now let's look at what's happened at 130. You kind of have the same thing. You see on May 4th, you had a gap up, right? Here's our pre-market gap higher, and an initial push above 130, but just like I pointed out that you couldn't really stay beneath 125, 124 for more than an hour, well, it's even worse when you looked at how much time could it spend above 130. It only spent about 45 minutes or so above 130 before coming back below it. Couldn't get that dollar mark extension into the 131s. The reason dollar mark extension to me is so important on a stock like Apple is because you need to show the market that the breakout or breakdown is legit. So if you can get that dollar mark extension, that starts to give credence that it's not just going to come right back to where it was. So that's why I'm pointing this out. You came above 130, but again, didn't spend enough time above 130. Couldn't really prove itself, and even worse, couldn't push up towards 131. The end result was coming back down to the lower end of the channel. So hopefully that makes sense, and just going to go back to the daily just to show that, you're still right here in this channel. No real changes, as mentioned already. You're pretty much smack dab in the middle of it right here. 127.50 is the halfway point between 125 and 130. So if you are looking for 130, you want to see it be able to stay up here in these 127s to keep it on pace to go towards 130. And if you are looking for a move back down towards 125, you certainly want to see it not get anywhere close to 130. You want to see it stalling out here in these 127s low 128s to put in what would then look like a lower high versus that most recent high just above 130 that I just showed you on that 15-minute chart. And that could then set up for another test at 125 where you know what you're looking for on dips to 125. So nothing to get excited about on Apple until we really sustain something either above 130 where we can then target new all-time highs towards 135 to 140, or sustain a move below 125 where we can then target new 1 and 2 month lows towards this 120 level, and then we have to see what happens there.